Welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time within 30 minutes so that you're able to cover your current affairs on a daily basis, but you also don't have to spend your entire day just reading the newspaper because that is a time consuming process. So, we are going to be covering the entire day's current affairs within 30 minutes. Now, just watching this lecture would be job half done. Just after watching this lecture, you have to revise this lecture as well because revision helps you in consolidating these current affairs in your memory for long periods of time. Okay, it will hardly take 20 minutes, but these current affairs you'll be able to remember for very long periods of time. Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes shall be available on our Telegram channel. Well, the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. All you have to do is just click on that link and it will take you to our Telegram channel. All right? Okay, so let's begin our discussion. But first, let's take a look at the topics we are going to cover in today's lecture. So, in total, we'll be focusing on these 4 topics because these are the 4 topics that are important from the perspective of civil services examination. Number 1 is the world's largest dam being built on Brahmaputra River by China on the Tibet side. As you know, Brahmaputra River emerges from Tibet and then flows into India. So China is planning to build a big dam, the world's biggest dam on this river, and India is really concerned about this. Now, how does it affect India? We'll talk about this. Then, Household Consumption Expenditure Survey 2023-24. Its data has been released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and it has given us key insights into the household expenditure by both rural Indians and urban Indians. So we'll talk about this issue. Then recently, central government has released draft policy on agricultural marketing. And many farm leaders and many farmers who are protesting right now, plus the opposition parties, are opposing this draft policy because they say that this policy reminds them of the 3 farm laws, the 3 controversial farm laws that were repealed few years back, right? So we'll talk about this, what is in this draft policy. And in the end, we'll talk about Russia's claim of developing a vaccine for curing cancer. Russian scientists claim that they have developed a vaccine that can cure cancer and all types of cancer. Now, this would be a significant breakthrough if these Russian reports are correct. So, what are these Russian reports? What type of vaccine would it be? We'll talk about this. Okay, so these are the 4 topics we are going to zero in our attention on. Please give me 100% and let's begin. Okay, so topic number 1 is world's largest dam being built on Brahmaputra River. So China on December 27th defended its plan to build the world's largest dam on the Brahmaputra River in Tibet. Okay, this massive project to dam Brahmaputra River. Now Brahmaputra River, you have to remember this. Brahmaputra River emerges around the glacier of Mount Kailash, which is in Tibet. Okay, now it flows through Tibet and it is called Yarlung Zangbo in Tibet. Then it enters Arunachal Pradesh and merges with a few tributaries, few rivers in Arunachal Pradesh and forms Brahmaputra River. Now, China has planned the world's biggest dam on Yarlung Zangbo. And because Yarlung Zangbo emerges as Brahmaputra in India, India is really concerned about this dam because they feel that it is going to yield a lot of disadvantages to India, especially India's northeast. Okay, now India has said that China shouldn't construct this dam, but China has defended its plan and said that this is a very safe dam, it won't impact anyone. Now, the dam is also located in an ecologically fragile Himalayan region, plus it is also located in a tectonically active region where earthquakes occur quite frequently. Therefore, the safety of this dam is still in question because if a large earthquake strikes Tibet, then this dam might get destroyed and it would lead to catastrophic consequences in the downward regions of this river, that is India. Okay. Now, what are India's concerns? So, India says that number 1 concern is that this dam being built on Yarlung Zangpo, China is building this dam to gather water to supply to water scarce regions of Western China. As you all know, Western China is water deficient. Okay, so China is planning to dam this river so that water can be supplied, water can be diverted to water scarce region of China. Now, India fears that this diversion would lead to less water flow in Brahmaputra river downstream, and this would really impact irrigation in the India's northeast. So water diversion is concern number 1 for India. Then many experts are saying that China might use this dam to drop a water bomb on India. Now they have used this terminology called water bomb. Now what do you mean by this water bomb? They say that by building this dam, China is going to stop or store a lot of water flowing in Yarlung Zangpo. Okay, so a lot of water would be stored and dammed by this dam. Okay, the thing is, whenever China feels that they want to punish India for some things that they don't like about India, they can release the gates or they can open the gates of this dam. A lot of water would flow down the stream, and this would lead to flooding of the regions around Brahmaputra river. That includes Arunachal Pradesh, even Guwahati. Okay, so security experts are calling it water dam. Okay, now water bomb. Security experts are calling it water bomb because it has the destructive power of destroying India's regions. Okay, the term used by security experts, which refers to China's ability to release water from the dam, flooding areas in Arunachal and Assam. Plus, this region where the dam is being built is also tectonically active. A very significant earthquake might destroy the dam and release the water stored in this dam, again creating a water bomb like situation in India. So, water bomb is concern number 2, natural disaster is concern number 3, and India feels that this is a very big risk for India. Okay, but China said that we are going ahead with this dam. We don't think that it is of any concern to India, and therefore we are totally within our rights to construct this dam. India is protesting it, but of no avail. Now, China is going to go ahead with this dam. There is no doubt. China is going to build this dam, which is going to be the world's largest dam. Now, what can India do to prepare against this water bomb-like situation? In case in future China decides to drop a water bomb on India using this dam, how will India prepare? So, India has prepared for this. India is constructing Siang Upper Multi-Purpose Project, which is a counter to this dam by China. Now, what is Siang Upper Multi-Purpose Project? Hear me out carefully. So, the thing is that Brahmaputra originates near Mount Kailash in Tibet, okay, where it is known as Yarlung Zangpo. Now, as you could see in the map, it flows eastwards, and then it sharply turns into Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, there is a peak, very big mountainous peak around which Yarlung Zangpo turns around. Okay, this peak is known as Namcha Barwa. So, around Namcha Barwa, Yarlung Zangpo creates a bend, horseshoe bend, and then it enters India as Siang. So, it is called Siang in India, Arunachal Pradesh. Then it is joined by 2 tributaries, Dibang and Lohit. Okay, and after joining these 2 tributaries, it is called Brahmaputra, which flows through India's northeast. Okay, now India is trying to construct a dam on this Siang river. So it is trying to construct a dam on Brahmaputra river before it is joined by Dibang and Lohit. Okay, now this dam will act as a counter to in case China decides to launch this water bomb. So India is going to construct this dam. This will be used for irrigation, for electricity and whatnot. But in case China decides to increase the water flow here, this dam will act as a stoppage point for this increased water flow. So India's counter is Siang Upper Multi-Purpose Project as a counter to concerns over China planning the world's largest dam at reportedly 60,000 megawatt capacity. So Chinese dam can generate this much amount of electricity. Okay. Officials say the Siang project and its reservoir could counter water diversion from Sangpo to water source parts of India and the possibility of sudden release of water from the dam. So this is India's answer. India first tried to stop the Chinese, but Chinese are not going to listen to India. So India is countering this dam with its own dam, okay, on the Siang River. So yeah, let's move on to topic number 2, which is Household Consumption Expenditure Survey 2023-24 by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Now, this Household Consumption Expenditure Survey is a type of survey that measures the household consumption expenditure. Okay, the consumption expenditure made by different households in our country. Okay, consumption expenditure would be calculated on a monthly basis. So monthly consumption expenditure made by households in rural India, households in urban India, households of the richest 5% in India, households of the lowest 5% in India. Okay, so it basically measures on average how much expenditure is being done by average Indian households on consumption. Okay, now this has given some very interesting results, the recent survey. Okay, it has said that the proportion of food expenditure in 1 month, the proportion of food expenditure the expenditure on food as a proportion of total expenditure. Okay, so generally it was found that around 40% of your monthly expenditure of an average Indian household is towards food, right? So the percentage of food expenditure over total expenditure has increased. Now, this is not good news because it is said that if you are a rising economy and if your incomes are increasing, the percentage share of your food expenditure over your total expenditure declines. Okay. So, if you're earning 10,000 rupees a day, you'll spend 4,000 on food. That means 40% of your income is spent on food. But if you're earning 10 lakh rupees per month, how much food are you going to eat? You'll be spending 10,000 rupees on food, right? That is 1% of your total income. Make sense? So rich people spend lesser percentage on food, whereas poor people spend more on food, more percentage wise. Okay, not absolute terms, percentage wise. So if India's overall food expenditure as a percentage of total expenditure declines, that means on average Indian incomes are increasing. But this says that the declining trend that was seen for the past decade, that India's food expenditure as a percentage of total expenditure was declining, has reversed. And in fact, the share of food expenditure in total expenditure has increased in 2023-24, and that goes for both rural and urban areas. Okay. Now, many people say that the reason for this might be that the prices of food in 2023-24 were high, therefore their share in total incomes, total expenditure increased. So many experts are saying that it's not because people are consuming more food, or it's not because people's incomes or total expenditure have declined. It's just that the price of food has increased, and that is why from 40% it is now 45%. Right? That's the reason that is given. Okay. But this is what is seen in the household consumption expenditure survey. Other findings were narrowing gap between urban and rural. Difference in average monthly consumption expenditure between rural and urban households narrowed. So, generally, it was found that urban households spend more and rural households spend less on a monthly basis. But this gap between the two has been declining. Okay, that's good news, basically. Good news if rural expenditure is rising, but bad news if urban expenditure is declining. All right. Plus, it was also found that in the past 10 years, the expenditure by elites, top 5% of India, was increasing. Why? Because they were spending more on expensive goods, right? But recently it was found that the expenditure by top 5% of both rural and urban population has declined. In fact, the bottom 95% have increased their expenditure, but the top 5% have declined their expenditure, decreased their expenditure. Now, this says that there is also declining inequality because the expenditure made by top 5% is declining and the expenditure made by bottom 95% is increasing. So, this is reducing inequality. In fact, inequality is also measured by a term called Gini coefficient. Okay, so Gini coefficient is a macroeconomic indicator that measures inequality. And by looking at Gini coefficient, it was found that Gini coefficient is also improving or declining in both rural and urban areas. So when Gini coefficient is high, that means high inequality. If Gini coefficient is low, that means low inequality. So Gini coefficient has declined in both rural and urban areas. That means inequality is declining. Okay. So all in all, good news. All right. So this was what was found in Household Consumption Expenditure Survey. Now you need to know a bit more about Household Consumption Expenditure Survey, right? So Household Consumption Expenditure Survey is conducted by NSO. NSO is a body under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And this Household Consumption Expenditure Survey in general is conducted every 5 years. But this time it has been conducted back to back. It was conducted in 2023 and 2023-24. Okay, so it was conducted back to back. The reason was that in 2022-23, methodologies were updated. Okay, there was a change in methodology of conducting this survey. All right, so to validate that methodology, it was conducted again in 2023-24. Though in general, HCES is conducted every 5 years. You have to remember this. Okay. Now, the data from HCES is very important for calculating GDP, for calculating poverty, for calculating consumer price index also. Okay. Now, about NSO, it was formed in 2019 by merging Central Statistical Office and National Sample Survey Office. Okay. It works under Statistics and Program Implementation Ministry. All right. Okay. Let's move on to topic number 3, which is draft policy on agricultural marketing. So the central government has released draft national policy framework on agricultural marketing, and it is facing criticism from not just the opposition, but from also farmer protesters or farm leaders. They're saying that this policy actually tries to reintroduce the three repealed farm laws, okay, for which the farmers launched a protest and the government had to backtrack. So government is trying to reintroduce these 3 farm laws through this policy. That is what the allegation is. Okay. But the center denies those allegations. In fact, center says that this policy will help farmers a lot because it will help them to market their product in a better way. Therefore, they'll get better price for their produce. So what are the key features of this new policy? So first of all, this policy says that we want to provide choice to farmers. They can sell their produce in APMC mandis or markets. They can sell their produce online to private buyers or even directly to consumers. So farmers shouldn't be forced to sell their produce only in APMC mandis. They can sell it wherever they want. This would give more choice to farmers and would also allow them or give them the freedom to get the best price for their produce. Okay, so this policy does that. Then this policy also encourages private investment in market infrastructure. Now, what is market infrastructure? Cold storage facilities, warehouses. India lacks this infrastructure, because of which a lot of food gets wasted. Because India does not have enough cold storage facilities, warehouses, so food gets rotted and it gets wasted. Okay, but this investment in market infrastructure private investment in market infrastructure would promote the construction of these things. Okay, then this policy also talks about leveraging technology. Okay, adoption of digital trading, e-market platforms, blockchain for efficiency and transparency. Now, the protesters are saying that this reminds them of the 3 farm laws. Okay, so how is it similar to farm laws? Look, among the 3 farm laws, one law was called Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation. It, like this new policy, called for freedom to farmers to sell to other markets other than APMCs. So in that regard, it is similar. Plus, it is also similar to another law, Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act, which also talked about private investment in marketing infrastructure. So it is same there. Plus, like the farm laws, this policy is also silent on MSP. Now, MSP is a very contentious issue for farmers because right now farmers are protesting to get the government to give a legal guarantee, create a law for MSP. Okay, but this policy is silent on that. So farmers are not happy with this policy, but the government is saying that this policy would really help farmers to improve their incomes. Okay, and the debate goes on. All right. And the last news item is vaccine for cancer by Russia. So, Russian media recently reported that Russian scientists have developed an mRNA vaccine, which stands for messenger RNA. So, they have developed an mRNA vaccine that has shown the ability to suppress tumor development and metastasis in preclinical trials. So, this vaccine had gone through preclinical trials and it had shown to reverse the production of tumors. Tumors are basically a buildup of cancer cells. Okay, so if your cancer cells increase, that body part where the cancer is also increases in size. We call it tumor. So this vaccine has shown to suppress tumor development. It has also shown to suppress metastasis. Now, what is metastasis? Look, let's suppose a person has lung cancer. That means cancerous cells are being developed on your lungs, right? From these lungs, these cancerous cells enter your bloodstream, and through the blood, they spread to other parts of your body, spreading the cancer to other organs. Okay, that is a very dangerous stage of cancer. When your cancer starts to spread to other body parts, that is known as metastasis. Now, this vaccine will not only suppress tumors, but will also stop metastasis. At least that is what is being claimed by Russian scientists. Okay. According to the reports in the Russian media, the vaccine can even be personalized. Okay. So basically, it is an mRNA vaccine, but it can be updated or changed according to your DNA. So different people have different DNA, and these different people will have different responses to this vaccine. So the Russian scientists say that they are going to update this vaccine according to your DNA. And they can do that within an hour. Just within an hour after taking your DNA, they will check how can we change this mRNA vaccine to best suit you. Now, this is known as personalized medicine or personalized vaccine. And through the help of AI, they can do that within 1 hour. Okay, so this is a very big discovery. Not only is this vaccine going to stop cancer, it is also going to be personalized, matched to your DNA. That's very big news. Okay, now how does this vaccine work? So basically, what happens is you are given this mRNA vaccine. It basically trains, this vaccine actually trains your immune system or immunity cells to identify cancer cells and then attack them. Okay, so this mRNA vaccine basically trains your immune system to identify, recognize cancer cells and then attack them. So, in a sense, this vaccine is training your own immune system to fight cancer in your body. Okay, so what happens is that cancerous cells on their surface have a protein called neoantigen. So every cancerous cell has a protein on its surface called neoantigen. What this mRNA vaccine does is it trains your immune system to identify this neoantigen, recognize it, and then attack it. Okay, and this training can last for 10 to 12 years. So your immune system is ready to identify this new antigen for next 10 to 12 years. So you don't need a new vaccine until 10 to 12 years. Okay, this can happen. So that is why this vaccine is basically training your own immune system. That is why these types of vaccines are categorized under immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is a therapy in which your own immune system is trained to fight off the disease. Okay, so this mRNA vaccine can be categorized as immunotherapy. All right. Now, are there any other vaccine preventable cancers? Look, vaccines are generally created to fight off infections. Infections caused by bacteria, virus, fungi, other microorganisms, right? Vaccines are generally there for that, to fight off these microorganisms, right, to infections. But there are some cancers which are caused by these microorganisms. Okay, so if you have a vaccine that fights against some of the cancer causing microorganisms, you have a vaccine preventable cancer. Okay, there are two cancers that can be prevented through vaccines. One is cervical cancer. More than 95% cases of cervical cancers are caused by HPV virus. HPV virus stands for human papilloma virus. So if you develop a vaccine against HPV, you can prevent cervical cancer. Similarly, some forms of hepatitis B virus cause liver cancer. So if you are vaccinated against hepatitis B infection, you can prevent liver cancer. Okay? But apart from these two, there is no other vaccine that can not prevent, treat cancer. But Russians are claiming that they now have a significant breakthrough. All right? Okay. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation, but it would add more value if you revise this lecture from our notes. All right? Please do that. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.